profits with joint ventures. Welcome back to another episode of Build with a Plan with Coach David. And what we're all about here on Build with a Plan is to help you with tips and tricks to help you build your business as quick as possible, but building it with a good foundation so that you can make sure that you are experiencing that financial freedom and that time freedom that all of us crave as we grow a business. Now, last episode we talked about bundling your way to profits by completing an apples to oranges comparison or creating an apples to oranges comparison for your business, for the services and the products that you offer. Now, that is trying to find different solutions inside your business that you can offer that adds value to make sure that when people look at you, they're not looking at an apples to apples comparison, and that apples to oranges comparison with the added value that you're bringing will attract more clients and allow you to have more profits. And that's the best way to grow your business, or one of the good ways to grow your business. Now, today we're going to build on that with talking about joint ventures. Okay, so joint ventures is a joint venture partner, a referral partner, someone that you trust that works with similar prospects as you do, so that together you actually create a much bigger and more valuable service to your clients. But first of all, you need to understand what your ideal target market is, and you want to make sure that you are narrowing it down. Don't be that all things to all people. That never works. Yes, you can make a bit of money, and yes, you can have a little bit of profit, and yes, you can build a bit of a business. But what you want to do is make sure that you kind of niche down and understand that target market as best as you can. Now, the reason why it's better to make sure you narrow that target market down is so that you know exactly what problem they want solved, or problems that they want solved. Because remember, everybody out there has, a problem that they don't want, and there's a solution out there that they want but they don't have. So you need to understand what those problems are, and you need to understand what solutions they're looking for, so that when they actually find you, they understand that you are the right person to talk to. So how do we do that? Well, you want to curate your solution. As soon as you know and understand what their problems are, you need to know how can you best solve those problems. And that's where the curating of the solution comes into play here. So forget what you've already been doing, okay? You have to decide and understand, what does the client actually want? Like I said, once you know that, now you can build the ultimate solution to make sure that you're solving those problems. And that's okay. It's all right not to know everything or be able to offer all the parts of that solution. This is where the joint venture partners, or the JVs, come in to help. They can fulfill parts of your solution without you having to invest in a lot of, maybe new equipment or new staff, that type of stuff. This allows you to create this ultimate solution without expending a lot of investment to begin with. But be assured, make sure that you're very, 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 yes, 3 varies on this, picky about who you bring on as a joint venture partner. Because remember, they're representing you. You're building a reputation, and you want to make sure that you only bring on board the good quality joint venture partners. So, and once you already know what you want to do. So they're going to share the vision with this joint venture partner, and you want to make sure that they buy in, they agree, and they want to grow their business in the same integrity that you want to. Make sure you interview them. Maybe call up some of their clients. This is important. You have to make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into, so that when they are out there representing you, they're representing you to the highest level that you already hold. And you know that, or they know that, because you've shared the vision with them. You've told them what your process is and what you want to do for your clients. So you want to make sure you hold everybody to a high standard. That includes all of your staff, any of your suppliers, any of your JV partners. You want to make sure that everybody is on the same page, so that we make sure that you are delivering that product or service at that level that you want it to be. And this helps you again with the apples to oranges comparison. If you're able to offer so much more than your competition, they'd be crazy not to want to work with you, even if it means they're paying a higher price, because they know that they're getting exactly what they want. Here's a couple examples. If you are a painter out there, most painters, they pretty much do everything more or less the same. Yeah, maybe a little different. The personalities can help. But let's say you joint venture with a home decorator or an interior designer. Now all of a sudden, you're bringing to the table something a little bit unique. Some color consulting, maybe pillows and window coverings, and maybe floor coverings, or even furniture for that matter, right? Or is there paintings or pictures or whatever that is? Now all of a sudden, yes, for sure, you're not going to be the ideal supplier for someone that just wants a down and dirty paint job. But that's okay. There's lots of other painters that can take on those types of clients. What you want are the ones that appreciate the quality that you bring to the table. And that's what I meant by when you're looking at, so figure out who your ideal target market is, narrow it down, understand what their problems are. The clients that would appreciate, color consulting and a decorator, home designer, interior designer, whatever title you want to put on that, they are the ones that will understand the value that you're bringing to the table. So there's a great example right there. Another one would be, realtor. Most realtors, especially in our area right now, it's really free home evaluation, right? Everybody, that's expected. That is not a leading problem-solving issue, because everybody's going to do that. That's just part of what realtors do. But what happens if you actually, part of no extra cost to the client, you brought in a home stager, and they came in, they went through your house, and they set up your house, even if it meant bringing in some new furniture or some knickknacks or whatever it is to just spruce up the house a little bit better, and at no extra cost. Just think about that. All of a sudden, you are now a little bit better than anybody else, because you're bringing a service that doesn't cost any more to the client. Now, what about a lawn maintenance? So you're cutting grass, and you're doing weeds. A lot of times I talk about this, but let's say that you have a joint venture with a tree service person. Yes, might be able to do some, little bit of trimming and that type of stuff. But what happens if you need to be able to service some larger trees? You want to make sure that you have a tree service person or business that is, at the same level as you, so that can just be part of what you look at. As you are, surveying the people's property, if you identify some trees that maybe look like they should be a little bit looked after, or maybe they should come down, or maybe there's too many in one area, that's where, if you understand the tree service a little bit better, have that relationship, so that a few things to look at, you can bring that up to the homeowner and say, don't worry, we can include that in our lawn maintenance, and it's only going to be this much of an investment. And another one would be, a business coach with an accountant. And that's something that I identified, helping small to medium-sized business owners out there. I understand numbers to a decent level, but I realized that I didn't know enough. So I wanted to make sure that every time that I was with a client and I needed to look deeper into the numbers, that I had an accountant there with me to make sure that I do understand the numbers the way they present themselves, so I can offer the best advice to my clients. Now, not a lot of business coaches do that, but that's just something that's just part of my service. It's just built into what I do. So this episode, we talked about joint ventures. You need to make sure that you understand what your ideal target market is, what problems that they are running into, and then create a solution, an ultimate solution that solves all the problems. And if it means bringing in joint ventures, make sure that you are picky, you share the vision, interview them, make sure they're the right fit for you, so that, again, they are representing your business. But the more stronger of a relationship that fits the solution you have, the much better it is. And then you have the complete apples to oranges. Maybe it's apples to pineapples comparison here. Not even in the same ballpark. And that's what you want. You want customers, prospects to refer you, to want to work with you because that you service the entire problem. All right, until next time, Coach David out.